Hello and welcome back to Dial H for Heroclix. I'm your sexy ranch hand co-host Kalder and Simeon. This episode we're going to be talking about the Scott Porter unboxings last week and several different articles that are all previewing figures from X-Men Rise and Fall. This is episode 366. Howdy, howdy, let's get rowdy.
So if you're looking for emotional satisfaction, my advice to you is seek professional
Heroclix?
No.
Are you serious? Again? How many people even play this game? Like 100? Instant deadpan humor.
Over six people think I am funny.
It's the hard day's work. Not that you know anything about that. Which,
Absolute fools, it's not.
Witcher nonsense.
I'm gonna make Heroclix like that forever. Are you kidding me?
Hey Google, attack someone.
Let's attack Simeon, because he's a jerk.
Wow, wow, wow. Dial H for Heroclix is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day, including all the latest Heroclix singles and sealed products. Make sure you check them out at CoolStuffInc.com. You can use code DIAL5, DIAL 5. That's the number 5 for 5% off your order. So definitely start using that code to start racking up your order points, and eventually you'll surpass it. You won't even need the code anymore. It's amazing. So you can do that, and you can pre-order yourself some X-Men Rise and Fall. I also believe, well, it won't be by the time this episode is up, but Future Foundation is like $90 for a brick on there right now, which is a pretty good deal. But anyways, joining me in the studio, like always, is my co-host, Simeon Bruce, your current Dial H for Heroclix champion. What's going on, Simeon?
Oh, not too much, Calder. Is your computer going to do all right? Is it going to make it?
I hope so. I think it will. I think we're good.
Okay. I thought you might have
spilled,
had a little trouble
the beverage
there.
beverage of the night was spilt on the computer a little bit earlier and freaked me out. It froze up my computer for a second, and yeah, but now I think it's running well. I think we're fine.
Yeah, reminds me of Kurt Russell when he ran into that. What was the name of that? Little Trouble in A Big Night in China, something like that.
Yeah,
You didn't even see it coming. You didn't even see it coming.
I'm glad we got it out of the way. If not anything else, it's over now. But oh gosh.
What the patrons don't know, because this is only an inside joke for the patrons. But what they didn't see is
not even all of them.
Me and Calder probably spent like the last 2 hours prepping for the show. So I've just been waiting this entire time to make a really dumb joke.
I was secretly still hoping that we had enough time from that joke to now that you would have forgotten. That maybe we talked about enough things from then to now, and enough things happened that you would have forgotten. But like I said, Simeon never forgets. He never forgives. He never forgets. He forgives sometimes, I guess, but he definitely never forgets. That's just a fact. Jeez. Now my head is rattled right now. What's the start of the show? Simeon, what made you happy this week?
Well, what
don't
made
say
me
what
happy...
just happened, because that bothered me.
No. What made me happy this week was finally got to hang out with one of my best friends I haven't seen in, close to. I mean, we've played like 1 or 2 games, but haven't really like hung out in a long time. So, yeah, it's been like way too long. Finally got to hang out. It was good to see them again. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Pretty boring week for me, but it was cool to eat some good food and play some games and stuff like that.
Nice, man. That's really awesome. This week was pretty busy. A lot of waking up early to work cattle. We are in the middle of Brandon season, for those of you that know. So Simeon, who knows what I'm talking about. Time to brand all them calves, and that was pretty hectic this week, being in the 90s to hundreds. So it was waking up pretty early to try to get the work done while it was still cool outside. Did not make me happy this week, but I did have some friends come out, and they wanted to see exactly how the ranching process worked and everything. So we were able to show them. You know, I think it gives you a better idea. And if you ever want to learn The real true process of how agriculture is, definitely talk to a local farmer or rancher and check out their operation. That'll give you a really good idea. But that was really fun, seeing people very much outside of their element and seeing me inside of my element, and just kind of showing them what to do. And it's weird because you don't realize that when you're raised with it your entire life, that people just don't know how to act around animals. You know, even if they have pets and stuff, like cattle and horses are completely different. You act totally differently around those animals, and it's weird seeing people like freeze up when they go anywhere like near a cow. And I'm like, just walk past it. It's not gonna bother you. But it's like, yeah, it kind of do be a couple, 1,000-pound beast that could murder you at any second if it so chose to. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun stuff. But yeah, hanging out on the ranch, showing people how it all goes. So yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time.
It's always fun when people are like,
love it.
You'll be in like a different city or just in the city in general, and someone will be like, "Oh, a deer," or like, "Oh, a cow," and you're like, "Yes, correct." Does this mystical creature surprise you? Like, what? I don't understand. It's not like a unicorn standing out there. It's not right. Even like interesting. It's not like a loose giraffe. It's.
Yeah, I've only ever like totally pulled over to the side of the road, because I didn't realize there was a bison farm or a ranch in this area, and I've seen them before. I've almost done the roundup around here where they all move them, but I've never done that. But like I've seen tons of bison before, but I didn't expect them to be in this like area, and I was like, oh dang, cool, and I just like pulled over and like looked at them because. That is more of a creature where it's like it's such a goofy, weird, oblong, weird proportioned
front
cow
heavy
looking at a bison. By bison, I mean like a buffalo. Yeah, it's just so like that is actually one where it's like, yeah, I'd pull over or be like, dang, look at that, that's crazy cool. Or like if you're in the Black Hills and you're in bear country, you're like, dang, it's a bear. Haven't seen a bear, But like cattle, horses, deer, all that stuff, whatever. I've seen hundreds and hit hundreds with my car, so like it's I'm just kidding. I've never hit a cow with my car anyways.
I'm
but
never
I think
excited when someone
a few
shows
deer
me their
if you're
new
driving.
baby. I'm like, I've hit hundreds with my car.
Yeah.
They're just crawling all over the place.
Oh my goodness.
Up at the Niobrara,
right.
around Niobrara, there's an elk farm, so that's
that's cool.
Sparks County.
Yeah, because elk are huge and it's really sweet to look at them. I love the Niobrara, man. That's a great river to do some like tubing or kayaking or whatever. I prefer just getting in an inner tube and just floating down the Niobrara is like my personal favorite way to do it. Anyways, that's enough. What would it be? Wildlife talk. Let's go ahead and get into the news, shall we? So, WizKids, and we'll just do this really quick. WizKids has shown, and by that I mean they updated the modern age legal list to show that the case, buy by the case exclusive figures, the mail away figures, are all legal, as well as the Scott Porter Pog is also legal. Some people still haven't gotten their codes, those people being me, which worries me, but that's okay. It's all right. It's whatever. And obviously, I don't think anyone has gotten their stuff for the Heroclix for Huntingtons yet. So weird, people are and people in the Clicks Cup are also saying, and that's not until July, so it's almost 2 months away for this late July tournament, the Clicks Cup, a little less than 2 months away. And they're kind of worried. They're saying like they sent an email to everybody, which is super annoying because now I get a notification every time someone replies to the email. I don't know if that's because they're hitting reply all or what it is, but it seems that there's just maybe because when you send an email to 80 people, a certain amount of people are going to hit reply all. Either way, it's very annoying. I wish there was a better way for us to do that. Maybe get all 80 of us on Facebook or something, who knows, and not do an email chain. This isn't totally a knock against the people in charge. I'm still very excited to go. I'm just saying getting bombarded with email notifications is not my idea of a fun Sunday evening. But anyways, they're basically just trying to talk about whether or not they should allow these figures to be legal for that event. and I'm sort of wishy-washy on it, you know. That's going to be late July. Hopefully, everybody will have their mail-away figures at the very least. But I would definitely say no to the Scott Porter Pog, only because we have no clue when that stuff is coming out. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm sort of at with that. So, but yeah,
think,
that is
yeah.
what's legal right now. So if you're playing games in real life and they're saying it's modern age, you can play that Brainiac Lex Luthor. There's nothing stopping you, bro. But you still can't play Lady Phoenix or the Master Mold figure.
That's true. Yeah, I guess those are the only two that haven't been like fully released. Really, none of them have been fully released. But yeah, I think Fulcum might make an impact. I really don't see. I mean, Fulcum and the Scotty Porter Pog might make an impact, but other than that, I don't
I would
see.
say so.
I guess Plastic Man. Jeez, never mind. They're all broken. I take back everything. I'm just gonna. Someone could make an argument as to why each one of them has like a place on some team. So I'm not gonna say that. What I want to say is like I don't think any of those things would give an unfair advantage to somebody.
Not a crazy unfair
no,
advantage.
Because like like Scotty Porter Pog, it gives a perplex and a boost to. I mean, it does a lot, but it gives like perplex. It can be a taxi. It doesn't count against theme and can give you like a boost to crits. Has triple target in cap, right? There's other stuff in the game that does that. There's stuff that gets around it. There's the emotional modifier that can give you Battle Fury, and then Fulcum is like mostly just retaliation. I don't know if anyone's playing it other than that. And there's still Dark Phoenix and all the other ones that are still modern legal. So I don't really have a stake in it because I'm not going to be there. But if I did, I would say let my people go, Pharaoh, and then I would split the Florida Sea. What's that called?
Swamp?
The Atlantic Ocean. Oh yes, the swamp, the Florida.
Oh,
swamp.
you mean the sea that is by Florida?
I mean,
Sorry.
I would slam a staff down, and the humidity would like visibly split, so I had a dry path to walk in Florida for once.
Oh my gosh!
People would be like,
"Could you imagine a dry area of Florida?
Like he's covered in sweat. Amazing. Who is he?"
And,
yes.
All right. Awesome. Then next up, we had some Scott Porter unboxings. He did a 2 for Tuesday, so we did a bunch of unboxings on that. He went through the token pack, Task Forces, whatever. He unboxed quite a lot of stuff, and you guys could probably tell, Simi and I, really busy this week, weren't able to post a lot of the unboxing pictures like we normally do. Thank you. Like we normally do. So... And I'm going to be honest with you, when I did have time to post those pictures, you could not make me. Gun to my head, I could not care. I'm sorry, guys, if you rely on us to share those pictures. And I know quite a lot of people do, because normally when we do share unboxing pictures, we end up getting a lot more likes and follows to the page, and it helps the page grow. Not trying to take anything away from Scotty P. Of course, we always link to the video. But for some people that just don't have time to watch the video, that's just very an easy thing to do, because the videos are long. And once again, that's good because he was dropping all sorts of knowledge that I didn't know. Although I will say this, me and Scott definitely don't see eye to eye. You could not pay me to be excited about this set or care about the X-Men in comic book form whatsoever. It was painful, man. And this is such a bad set. I can confidently say after one unboxing or however and whatever previews we have, I need still only, so far one figure from the set, and that's what's his face, Warpath. Like, and that's just because I want to keep the family going and have all of them. But like, dude, it's such a garbage set. The rally trait, every single one we've seen is a 5, and for some of them, it doesn't need to be of 5, because it's not like Wolverine and Sabretooth where they're replacing a D6 roll with it. It's just like, it lets them do something else. So a lot of the rally trait is being used for like traits that characters should probably just be able to do already, Where
it would be, it's
bad.
The first few that we previewed the 5 was being used like to replace Wolverine's regen roll, Colossus's impervious roll, Sabretooth's blades roll, and so far they've all been red 5s. So they have them listed as, you know, like you have all these options. There's red, blue, and green as far as what rally can be, and red is opposing attack rolls. This is like their rollout set, so I'm sure it'll change, just like team up cards did, just like sidekicks got better in like the next set. I'm assuming if they continue rally, that its set after this will be a little bit better, but it's all red 5s, and man, like some of them are literally just if you see a 5 in the roll, give this character a token, remove the token to do this effect. So it doesn't actually do anything. Like Cyclops can use his to replace his X-Men roll, which is actually like a useful thing to have a 5 instead of whatever he would roll. But then like Polaris, she just removes hers to knock someone back 5 squares. The die doesn't do anything. Like you could signify that with a token. And there's several that are, I think they just kind of ran out of ideas at a certain point, which is why it would have been great to use like different sides of a die. Like some dies have a 1 through 6 and you chose to only use a 5. What's his name? Good old Longshot. He can replace one of his die roll with his rally die, and of course it's a 5. And then his attack rolls of 5/5 are considered crit hits, which is one of my least favorite long shots, because there used to be one that just anytime he rolled doubles, it was a crit hit. This one is like extra steps, and it's a little bit easier to maybe guarantee you do it, but his dial's also just kind of boring. I don't know. I'm not going to get into Rally too much more, because I'm hoping that it's way more interesting the next time they use it, because we know that they've already implemented it in more sets. But
Right.
And we still haven't gotten into Salvage, but Salvage is somehow even more boring.
It's like, okay, I guess.
So weird. Free, if they occupy or are adjacent to hindering terrain, roll a d6 and place it on this card. Max 1, so they get 1 die, and it's a free action to activate. If they have a die on the card, they modify +1 the listed combat values, matching the number on the die. So if the die is a 3 through 4, you get a +1 attack. If it's a 5, you get a +1 damage. If it's a 6, you get attack and damage. It's cool, but I don't know if we need a whole new mechanic for just that. It just doesn't seem necessary. I don't know.
No, I agree, yeah. Like, what's that point?
Yeah.
Ugh.
But
all right, Simeon, do you want to talk about some of the figures that we're going to discuss a little bit here in the set?
How you mean the ones I've already been just completely hating on so far? Yeah, so
yeah, absolutely.
This set isn't.
But
this is not
them.
an irredeemable set. There are some shining qualities that I've found. I'm not a huge fan of it, but my favorite so far in the commons, as a generic, is the Hellfire Club Guard, and I think multiple people will already have this one like listed in their wants. So for 25 points, you get 3-click long dial. You got running shot with pen psi and toughness. It's a 10 for 2, 17 defense, 6 speed, 6 range, 1 lightning bolt. On click 2, which how you're ever going to get there, I do not know, but you've got running shot with energy explosion, 16 defense, and 1 damage. And then on click 3, you now are an incapping machine, sidestep, incap, 9 attack, 16 defense, 1 damage. And they've got a trait, which is adjacent friendly characters with the Hellfire Club keyword can use Mastermind, but only to choose Hellfire Club Guard, which is just really good. Hellfire Club already was like a somewhat playable theme team. It just was a playable theme team, but now having these like cheap little guys that you can throw in really, I don't know, really brings it up a step. They also have a special click, which I'll get into later on when I talk about the figure that actually works with that. But yeah, 25 points, not a terrible dial for what they are. Hellfire soldier, so they also theme with the allied soldiers with all that enhancement, so they could be a Pensai 10 for 5, which isn't nothing. It's pretty good.
Right on. I'm going to talk about my uncommon figure. Honestly, I was looking at all the figures in the set. I'm like, geez, who do I want to talk about? I don't want to just be like, this is like a figure who's okay. This is actually, I guess, because of how hard Rally is to pull off, I think this is probably one of the best figures in the set. I think she makes any X-Men team that has Rally on it, like, period. But once again, a lot of the Rally is just not good. So, but let's just get into it. Moyer Mctaggart, 20 points. Stealth, super senses, top dial. Middle 2 clicks have sidestep. Last click has regen. She's a 9 for 1, 16 defense. A bunch of lame stuff. Her rally is the same thing. It's a red 5 to opposing attack rolls, and it gives her power. Remove a rally die from Dr. Moyer Mctaggart to heal an adjacent character 2 clicks. Pretty good, actually. As far as like rally goes, being able to auto heal somebody. Once again, though, it doesn't need to be a 5 for any reason. But all right, she does have a special damage power on her first and last click, and it is simply power given adjacent friendly character with the X-Men keyword a rally die. So this can automatically give your Colossus a 5 to succeed on impervious, stuff like that. I think this is pretty solid. In sealed, I'd say she's just a must-play, period, because you're probably going to play some X-Men with a rally. If for some reason you can make a theme team that's like Shi'ar or something better than X-Men, then yeah, don't play her. But I think for 20 points, X-Men team ability, it's a little risky because you don't want to take her off of that power, give someone a rally die. But I think for as simple as she is, just might as well play her. You know, it's just she auto gives someone rally. You don't have to worry about. And if you pull 2, you can give herself rally because she's also an X-Men. So you could be constantly just giving both of them rally. Oh, never mind. She's unique. That makes sense. Sorry. Click's Nexus that I'm using for this does not have a silver. Yeah, it says rarity, uncommon, unique.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't have a silver thing like to show that she's unique on Click's Nexus. Just another downfall of Click's Nexus, but that's okay. But it does say uncommon unique. For her rarity. However, yeah, it does have set number 2. Okay, yeah. But yeah, so she's unique. Never mind. It would have been great, but I think WizKids is like, yeah, that would be a little broken to play 2 of them in Constructed 2 to just like constantly heal people. But yeah, I think she's fine. I think
it's a slightly
better rally.
Fast Force Professor X, who can do the same thing, but he has to succeed on leadership.
Yeah. This is just an automatic 20 points. I think any X-Men team that builds using Rally in the future just needs to have her.
Yeah.
20 points, it's not a big investment.
I mean, yeah, she'll be cheap on the secondary market, and I would definitely want to have one just on the off chance that the set after this, what is it? Empire. When Empire drops, if they've got returning Rally, I'd really like to have her so that I can possibly give like somebody with a nasty rally trait a die right off the bat. All right, the second figure I'm going to mention is none other than Dakin. Is it Dakin? I think it's a Mulk.
Yeah, you're talking about Dakin?
Yeah, Dakin. There we go. So we talked about him. I kind of talked about him last episode, but we didn't have any dial information. We just had the sculpt. I really still like the 3D rendering of the sculpt. I hope it turns out really cool. But he's coming in with 70 points. He's got Brotherhood of Mutants, Dark Avengers, Dark X-Men, Horsemen, Monster, Warrior, X-Factor, and X-Men. So he's got a full dial of blades. He's 7 clicks long. His first 4 clicks are toughness, and then his last 3 are regen. And then his first 4 clicks of his speed power is a special speed power that is Won't See Me Coming Charge, Sidestep, Stealth. When Dakin uses Charge while he occupies hindering terrain, he does not have speed, which is pretty good. It's not bad. Especially since you don't have to worry about hindering anymore, and he's got Stealth, so you're already going to want to be in hindering. He's just shooting out of there with not only Sidestep, but I guess you can't Sidestep. You'd have to Sidestep to like the edge of hindering, and then you have a full 9-speed charge with with like that full charge. So then the rest of his dial is got blades. His first 2 clicks are 11. His next 4 are 10s, and then he's got a 9 on his last click. He does have flurry for his last 3 clicks as well, without that speed power. But then he's got a special trait, which this is the one and only thing that really makes him feel like Dakin to me, and that is the Muramasa coated claws. So that's named after the blade, of course, the blade that can kill Wolverine or really like any healer in the Marvel universe. So he's got that special metal on his claws. When Dakin hits, give each hit character a poison token. Characters with poison tokens can't be healed and can't use stop for the rest of the game, even if this ability is lost, which might be good. It's not like, Elseworlds Green Arrow good. He's not like blasting you right through your clicks or anything like that.
Right.
But it's anytime he hits. So as long as he hits, not only can they not be healed, they can't use stop. So be great against like a Wendigo that got, a little too big for its britches kind of thing. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Dakin.
I think for 70 points, for sure and sealed, just for being a cheap 70 points, above average dial length, being 7 clicks, full charge, stealth, and then, stopping healing at the very least. I don't know how big stop is going to be in this set. I don't think we've seen a lot of it, but I think he's a very solid, definitely a super solid pick and sealed.
He
constructed. Like, I know you're a big fan of him, so do you think this fits the feel you were hoping for him?
I would have
especially
liked,
since it's been a while.
I would have liked to have seen 2 of them, because this is definitely like rookie Dakin. I would have liked to have seen another version that had like a little bit more. I don't know. Just he's not always like feral rage dude. That's the more interesting part of him for Heroclix, I guess. But he's got like some like plotty kind of plot stuff, and also he's got like a whole bunch of other costumes. But one character that really wouldn't probably want to face off against him in this set is Weapon Hex.
Who is the person I'm about to talk about, actually.
Yeah.
So the 70-point rare is a lot of the silver bullet of the Chase 75-point Weapon Hex. This is the first chase we got to see a sculpt for. Really cool looking sculpt. Just nifty. A little bit of energy, a little bit of claws. So, like I said, 75 points. Defenders and Mystics team ability. That Mystics is going to go a long way in this set, with no Invincible, of course, still being benched. 7 range, 2 bolts, although no running shot, no really range-heavy powers at all. Starting with Charge, a 12 attack, an 18 defense, super senses, 3 damage with Prob. Her 12 attack is a special, which she has on her first 2 clicks, and then on her 5th click, oddly enough. But it's Blades, Claws, Fangs. When Weapon Hex uses it after resolutions, you may place a hit target up to X squares away from their current square, where X is the D6 result. So she can target 2 people, which is really cool. And then, just toss them away, which is kind of neat if you don't want to tie up. But I think she's really good tie up, so I'd probably not want to shoo them away from me, honestly. But it kind of depends. If it's Dakin, then I'd be like, go away,
Or if
she also has a trait
mastermind
where
fodder, maybe you could place them.
Oh yeah, mastermind fodder.
Yeah. Especially if you're like flurrying.
That'd be good.
Yeah, it's got some uses. It's not completely weird, I guess.
And just to go over the trait really quick, it's power, choose an opposing target or choosing an opposing character within 6 squares in line of fire and give it a target spell token, removing any on other characters regardless of the source. Only characters with the mystical keyword can use improved targeting, blocking, elevated, and hindering when targeting only the character with a target spell token. She herself has no improved targeting at all, so she has to have clear line of fire to the person with the target spell token. But anyone else, once she gives it to them, can ignore blocking, elevated, and hindering, which is pretty gnarly. So it's pretty good. Power action, I don't know if that's the best use of her, but it's situational. Like I said, she's a real charge piece. So on clicks 2 and 6, so her second click and her last click, she has a stop click, which is stop super senses. At the end of your turn, heal weapon hex 1 click. That is incredibly annoying to just go ahead and heal boop off 1 stop click. So they need to at least 2-tap you to get you off top dial, hit you once, hit you twice to get you somewhere in the 3, 4, 5 range, and then they'll have to hit you again to get to 6, or if you can somehow hit her once and then hit her for 4 damage to get her to 6, and then hit her again, you can 3-shot weapon hex. She has 19 defense on her first stop click with probability control, which sounds like just a huge pain in the butt. Her last stop click is also an 18, which is pretty solid, and then also has probability control. So it's this is going to be a really tough figure to chew through in sealed. So definitely that Dakin, if that's your rare, I would say pull and play him, if not just to worry about this bad girl right here. And of course, being mystical on top of that with the free healing, she's going to be dealing out tons of free damage. And if there's any wild cards in the set, when she's on click 2, she won't be on click 2 for very long, but still, the defenders, very nice, very nice. But yeah, weapon hex, man, she is brutal in sealed, and I would say a pretty solid figure to play outside of sealed. Honestly, I think she's really, really, really solid.
That 19 19 with defenders on click 2. I think she'd be real. Do you remember the shifting focus Doctor Strange from ADW?
Yeah.
The defend one, like defense, specialty defense one. It was like when an adjacent friendly character takes damage from an attack, heal them 1 if they like copied his defense. So if you combo him with her, so not only can he taxi and then shift, if someone hits her to her stop click, he just heals her back up. And then I think it's only once per turn, but yeah, it would just, there's a lot of fun to be had with defenders. But she's got some good keywords outside of that too. The last figure that I'm going to talk about until we get the full set, or at least a little bit more of the set, is probably the only super rare that I've seen that I really, really need. Mimic's kind of cool, but I don't need him that bad. But I want to talk about Blackheart. And so you already heard me talk about the Hellfire Club Guard, and the main reason is because of this Blackheart here. He's got a 75-point line and a 150-point line. His 75-point line starts on click 5, and his 150-point line starts on click 1. No, it's 8 clicks long, so it's either 8 or 4 clicks long. His top dial is Running Shot at 150 points. He's got Mystics. He's got Running Shot with a 12 on his top dial, 18 Impervious, 4 damage with Outwit, and then he drops to an 11 attack Energy Explosion and 4 damage Prob. And then he gets wonky, so on clicks 3 and 4, he picks up Phasing and Poison with Invulnerability and switches back to Outwit on 3 and then back to Prob on click 4. And then on click 5, his other starting line, he also has that Running Shot Energy Explosion, but with an 18 Toughness and Prob Control. And then he goes to Flurry Blades immediately after that for 2 clicks. It's just such a weird, wonky dial. And to make sure that he finishes strong, he ends on a click that is Running Shot, Poison with Prob. My favorite combo. If you can't prob him into a poison, you might as well Running Shot him with it. And then he's got a special defense power for his last 2 clicks, which might be a good reason to play him for only 75 points. It is the Prince of Hell. Stop. Mastermind. Blackheart has power cosmic, or cosmic energy, I suppose. When this click is first revealed, generate a 006 Hellfire Club guard. So he's got that twice. When each click is first revealed, you'd get a guard, so that's pretty solid. He has 2 additional traits to that special power that make him a little bit better. So he's got Putting the Hell in Hellfire Club, gives him leadership. When Blackheart uses it and succeeds, you may instead generate a 006 Hellfire Club guard on click 1. And then as a power action, you can turn all friendly 006 Hellfire Club guards to click 9. But Simeon, wait! Hellfire Club guards only have 3 clicks. Well, you fools. I told you we'd come back to this point. They've actually got 3 clicks. Their 4th is KO, and then they've got a bunch of KOs until click 8, and then magically, if you play the exact right character known as Blackheart, they have a click 9 that they can be turned to. And on that click, they get Flight, Charge, and Flurry as a speed power called Demonic Transformation. Then they have an 11 attack Blades, 18 defense with Toughness, and 3 damage with Exploit, which makes them look a lot better for 25 points all of a sudden. Also, the fact that Blackheart, this is one of the few figure generators where they generate something that's costed, where the figure they generate can actually be real nasty, because Charge Blades Exploit, Charge Flurry Blades Exploit, is a real nasty combo. That's a potential, if you roll real well, it's a potential 12 penetrating damage in a single turn, which is, not quite enough to kill Blackheart in a single turn, but it's pretty good. His second trait is Heart of Darkness. If a character has been KO'd since your last turn, Blackheart deals penetrating damage. That includes with his poison, with his energy explosion, with his blades, all of those fun powers I listed off. And then free, once per turn for all characters with this trait, KO a friendly Hellfire Club guard. If you did, remove all action tokens from Blackheart, heal him 1 click, and after resolutions he can use either charge or running shot as free. Which is just, man. That's it. That's all for Blackheart. But he has so much stuff going on. I'm almost not even mad that he doesn't get the cosmic power until his last 2 clicks, because losing a 25-point figure, just deciding to KO a Hellfire Club guard, is probably worth it for all of that, like, free once per turn for all characters with this trait. Which also, I guess he's not unique, so maybe that's why they worded it that way, but maybe there are also going to be other people that can KO these guards and get bonuses or something. I don't know. It'd be really fun if that was. But, yeah. Either having the guards on click 9 with that Charge Flurry, having them top dial with Pensai, or KOing them so Blackheart gets a ton of cool boosts. No matter how you do it, it's a real fun figure.
And I definitely think, like, the Hellfire Club guard are still, when you bring them in for free, are still fine with a running shot pen blast.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Being an 11 for 18. Like, don't be like, all right, I got one, time to power action. To, like, no. Take a breath. Chill out. Especially because it makes them only 1 click long. But still, Flight, Charge, Flurry, when they're hitting you for 2, like, that is insane. But I'm just saying, like, it's definitely a right place, right time to power action and turn these pawns into rooks. I wouldn't say queens, but, something. Like, they are solid. They're solid both ways. Oh, I like them.
You could hit, like, your first stop click, generate one, and then, because you generate a guard when you hit the first one.
Right,
Like, when it gets back to your turn, you roll leadership, succeed, make another one, KO one of them, heal 1 click, pick charge, and then you've got Charge, Flurry, Blades, and, let's see, it's if a character has been KO'd since your last turn, So yeah, since a character got KO'd since your last turn, you deal penetrating damage with all of that. So it's pretty, I don't know. I think it's going to be a really fun piece to run. It's going to be one of those big brain moments, like every time you run him, where it's like, oh, I could do this and then maybe this, or maybe you just get like laid out right off the bat. Like maybe Dakin just hits him
never
with
make a leadership, never
6
whatever
on blades, and he doesn't get to use his stop clicks and just dies. Who knows? But maybe he survives and makes a bunch of little generic dudes that are cool.
And you're right. Once again, another figure with stop clicks that Dakin can just be like, nope, I don't think so. I guess also Mimic has stop clicks. So maybe there are like enough stop clicks. I would say that definitely. I already said like he was worth putting on your team no matter what. But yeah, there are quite a few stop clicks. Speaking of stop clicks, we got to see the card and dial information for Ultra Chase Deadpool. And boy, howdy, does he have some stop clicks. Once again, a bloated dial Ultra Chase Deadpool figure we have here with Pink Cake Deadpool. 200 points, 6 range, triple target, team player and X-Men team abilities, Assassin, Avengers, Deadpool Core, Thunderbolts, Weapon X, X-Force, and X-Men. He has improved targeting, ignores characters, and he can shoot while based. And then he's got a couple of traits. Welcome to the party. Wait, where are you going? Poison. When Deadpool uses it, he may treat characters with a slice of cake token that are not within 6 squares as adjacent. When Deadpool hits, give each hit character without a slice of cake token a slice of cake token. However, here the last slice of cake is a slick of cake token, so I'm sure Joe will fix that. It's very cool. Anyways, it's a little rough because he has 6 range, so that's sort of the balancing point, I guess, for Deadpool. It only affects people outside of 6, but he's gotta hit him, so you have to be within 6, which kind of sucks. And then he doesn't have sidestep either, so it makes it a little difficult for this poison effect to pop off, I guess. The second trait is, for me, you shouldn't have. Free. Choose a character within range and line of fire. Until your next turn, Deadpool can use the effect of any equipment equipped to that character, and the chosen character cannot use the effect of any equipment. So that's pretty good. Sadly, his lower point line is 100 and 200, so that's a little weird. But he not only gets to turn off equipment, like how God Emperor Doom gets to turn off equipment, but he gets to use the effect of any equipment that they have, or gets to use the effect of one of the equipments they have equipped. So that's pretty sweet. I dig that a little bit. That's his present that he's taken from somebody. I think it's pretty fun. I think it's flavorful for this version of Deadpool. And then we have the party's not over until everybody sings. Stop regeneration super senses. So he has a stop click on click 5 and click 11. Yeah, that's right. So at 200 points, he has double stop clicks. It's insane. And it's a lot to chew through. He's got a 19 defense top dial with super senses. He has Prob, Energy Explosion, Running Shot, 12 speed, 12 attack, 4 damage top dial. He goes on to some Charge, Blades, Combat Reflexes, Exploit Weakness. Then he hits that stop click. His first stop click, he is only Plasticity, but he has a 13 attack with Blades and 3 damage.
Yeah.
And then his second starting line will start on click 6 with Running Shot, Energy Explosion, and Prob Control again, but only 18s for defense on Super Senses. And then it goes once again to the Charge, Blades, Combat Reflexes. Then it ends on his last stop click with Plasticity Blades. So it sort of follows a theme for just consistent dial. But it is stop regen super senses. When this click is first revealed, place all opposing characters with a slice of cake token adjacent to Deadpool, and Deadpool gains immune until your next turn. Dang, that's pretty darn tough to chew through, guys. So if he's hitting you, if he's energy explosioning you, and whatever else, right? So when he's hitting people, that brings them all adjacent, and then on the stop clicks, he has plasticity. So we don't have to worry about him needing to charge or go anywhere. If he's been doing his job, handing out slices of cake, then everybody's going to come to him. So then he can potentially poison everybody next turn, and then he's got exploit and blades. It's pretty good. Like, he's not people certainly might be able to do something with him, honestly, just for how tough he's going to be to chew through. I think it's impossible to kill this guy in sealed, unless sealed in Florida is like team sealed at Nats, which, there's that conspiracy theory for some reason. No one pulled an Ultra Chase Thanos, right?
Out of
but unless
100 bricks or something. It wasn't quite,
right. Yeah, it's like statistically, it's
like 70 something.
borderline impossible.
Right.
There were 160 something players, right? Something like that,
Right.
with 2 boosters each. So it's borderline statistically impossible that no one pulled a Ultra Chase Thanos. And you say what you will, but I think whoever pulls a Cake Deadpool, unless the rest of their team is straight garbage, and by team I mean the other 2 players on their team besides this person's team, because this has 200 points of borderline unkillable stuff here, right? But once again, that dacking comes into play. He can really mess you up. But still, like, this Deadpool is insane. I mean, just gnarly. In constructed, I don't know. But anyways, like I was saying with teams, I think whoever pulls Birthday Cake Deadpool, if they don't have completely garbage pulls for the other 2 teams, I would say that they win. Just flat out, I think they win teams in Florida if you pull Birthday Cake Deadpool. You at least, well, that guy, at least for his day, will win probably every single game. Yeah, I would say. It's a bold claim, but I would stick to it.
Because just trying to like theory craft, first you have to crack the 19 with super senses, which like maybe I can get an outwit and either get lucky or I just have high. I mean, like there's enough 12s in the set, I could probably hit it. Maybe there's like a perplex. Well, nope, there's no perplex in the set, so maybe there's enough combat like close combat expert or range combat expert where I can hit a 19 with an outwitted defense. He hits his stop click. He's immune, so I can't do anything else. Now his choice is to either stay on his protected outwit super senses or roll regen and have the potential of getting to combat reflexes because he can't get up to the super senses again. Meanwhile, he's still like, this isn't like a one-sided battle. He's still making attacks. But then you have to do that to his bottom dial. You have to hit him back to that stop. He doesn't get immune that time.
Yep.
So you do have to get through that secondary super senses again.
Does he not? It doesn't say power. So, you mean the second time you hit him to the same stop click? You mean
the same one? Yeah. So because
the same one. Yeah.
I'm assuming he's gonna heal off. There's enough X-Men. Maybe he uses X-Men team ability. Yeah. Maybe he rolls regen. But either way, I assume he's gonna heal off of it, just to get that that stop click back in there,
more
into
health,
play.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's at the very minimum, it would be what, like 3 turns and 4 attacks. It'd be 1. I guess if they don't heal off of the stop, you could potentially hit them for 4 to the first one, and then it'd be another turn, and then you'd have to hit them for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't see that happening in sealed. But maybe you hit him for 6 to a second one, and then you have to wait for another turn. It's just a really time-consuming piece to try and chew through. I don't think he's unbeatable, but in sealed, with a well-built team around him, it's a very time-sinking piece where, your opponent might have another 100 points worth of stuff that's better idea to go after. Try and actually get some stuff scored kind of thing.
Yeah. Let's say if they can somehow kill like other 100 points, but like again, this Deadpool's a 12 for 4 top dial, and then
it's not that he's not just doing anything.
His attack only drops to a 10 on 1 click.
Yeah.
Like
goes
that's
up to a 13.
Pretty gnarly as far as
it's
his average attack stat is 11 or higher, like it's insane with this guy. Has move and attack on every click, and when he doesn't, he sucks people in that he's hit before adjacent to him. So, but thank goodness Mr. Sinister will deal him 1 penetrating damage if he ever uses the team player ability.
Just try and copy Defenders or Brotherhood. See what happens.
Oh geez, if you somehow like pull a weapon hex and him, which I think it has got to be impossible even in Team Sealed, that'd be a pretty gnarly combo. But yeah, dude, like this is pretty gross. This is like one figure that I would say is just too gross for casual at full points, anyways.
Yeah.
Borderline too gross for casual. I don't know if it'll make a splash in the meta. I'm not competitively minded to try to want to make this figure work. But I could honestly see, as far as the last few Ultra Chases go, I think he's really good. Once again, he's an Ultra Chase that does really fun things. But man, those double immune clicks and everything, and the free turning off equipment, and you got to think, right? Like they could have equipment that could actually hurt Deadpool or something, could actually deal a lot of damage to him, make it easy for him, or even one that's like choose a reducer or something, like they could have Stones of Merlin and all of a sudden now he's got invincible or whatever. Like that could be a pain in the butt, or straight up equip Deadpool with the Stones of Merlin and now he's got invincible.
Not a bad
but
idea.
he has 200 points, and 200 points is still like a lot to chew through. So yeah. I don't know with the way things are currently. There's all sorts of stuff being played. But yeah, that's Deadpool. Not to talk too crazy long about him. I would say, but just to be like the end all be all here, he is incredibly different than the 60-point one. But I think people are going to want this one more. And he will be way expensive. I think he will definitely be more expensive than Peggy Carter, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
As far as Ultra Chases go. I don't know if he'll be $400 Thanos level.
Probably same as
I think he'll be
Captain Marvel, maybe a little bit more than Captain Marvel because people actually
around
know
what,
who
200,
Deadpool is.
250. Yeah, I would say when it's Deadpool, I'd say he could be 300 right away, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, right away.
300, 350 right away.
Who knows?
Right away, yeah.
But yeah, he technically does come with equipment. It is a slice of cake token, so there is that.
I mean, that's not really equipment, though. It's just like how other characters have tokens, like a Marquee of Death token or like whatever. Like, it's not equipment.
Well, I mean,
it's just, but it is like an extra little thing.
I know a certain website that might sell it separately because they did that with the construct.
Oh, jeez.
So who knows?
Yikes. It's idiotic.
Just bad.
I feel like people are going to lose that slice of cake unless there's a way to somehow plug it into his dial, right? Like, people are going to lose that cake so fast.
If only we had drills and magnets. Get the people more magnets. That would be actually really cool.
All right.
Put magnets in
that
it.
is that's Rise and Fall. I've already discussed my disinterest with this set. However, I will say one thing. We'll give a quick mention to the legacy cards that they'll be making for this set. One figure that I got a while ago, mostly because I realized that she was the cheapest figure ever made with probability control, and that is Universe / is this Explosion Destiny. Her legacy card is specifically for Explosion. I won't go into it, but it basically gives you, sure, she only has a 13 defense with super senses, but she's 20 points with probability control, which has been and is still the cheapest probability control piece ever made. Besides, of course, a theme team character that's like 10 or 15 points. You know what I mean? Like, but a character with prob on their dial, Destiny here, I believe, is the cheapest one ever made. It's like, that's really cool. We sort of got to look at her. I'm not going to go into it or anything. Other legacy card figures are the Wolverine and the X-Men 001 Wolverine, the Uncanny X-Men Common Storm, the GSX. There wasn't any giant size. Yes, it was Magneto, the GSX Magneto, the Headmaster Cyclops.
That one right now.
Yeah, I didn't totally see what his card said. I know Scott read it, but I didn't fully understand it. I don't know if it can even use TK to make object attacks anymore. I mean, we can't do that, but I don't know if it lets him do that or anything. But what else was there? There was a version of Deadpool. I don't know if this is also Explosion, but it's the non-carded veteran Deadpool. When I first saw Scott put Deadpool on the table, I was really hoping it was the Web of Spider-Man Deadpool, just because like that to me is like the staple classic Deadpool, you know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, way cooler. So yeah, Scott has all the legacy cards. He only talked about the Apocalypse, which is that Mutations and Monsters Apocalypse, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I think, is this the first character with the flight base that has a legacy card, or was there like a Wonder Woman that had
There
a
was a
flight base
Wonder
that
Woman
has a
with
legacy
one.
card?
I'm pretty sure. Let me
Oh, okay.
look
So-
through them real quick.
In 2021, I can play
there's a
against a
horse
legacy. I
one.
can play against a flight base character.
There's
Horse,
no
I don't
way-
think, has a
so
flight base.
The Wonder Woman from Cosmic Justice in 2003 definitely had a flight base, and then the old KC Wonder Woman definitely did too. So yeah, those ones had. So it's not the first one, but yeah, reactivate soaring, whiz kids. Or are you too afraid
goodness gracious.
to give us soaring?
That would be
rules
funny
again?
if they just gave that as like a trait. So
Did you mention the
yeah.
Xavier School Cyclops?
I did, yeah. Cyclops, and then there's the X-Men Dark Phoenix Saga Sentinel generic has a legacy card. So once again, another modern age figure with a legacy card, and they're not even going to rotate this year. They're going to rotate next year. So this is definitely like, I know we joked about like the Batman animated series legacy card. This one is actually the stupidest legacy card they've made. Especially when they could have made like the very, very first Sentinel
Oh my
from
gosh,
Infinity
they have
Challenge, given it a legacy card.
so many options when
or
it comes to X-Men.
anything else.
Why would you
Especially,
even
yeah,
reach
dude, all the
within like the
colossal
last 2
from
years?
giant size, you know?
I don't even like the
Yeah.
as much as I like the fact that I have 2 extra Xavier School Cyclopses. You have X-Men from I don't know 18 years back that you could have pulled from, and you were like, hey, 2 years ago is good. 2019 was fine. Remember the last in-person Worlds we did? The sealed stuff? Let's use something from that. That's how like long ago those Sentinels came out. That was the newest set when Worlds happened. So new that I'm pretty sure you got it like at Worlds was like pretty much the first place that it was.
It
Unless
was
you
the
did
pre-release.
Yeah.
With World was like a week or two early from even like normal pre-release. So that was really cool. That was probably the biggest incentive to go to Worlds, was that the figures we were playing with, you could sell for pre-release like prices when you got home, or sell them at Worlds and say you'd ship it when you got home, because of the cost it takes to get to Worlds. That incentive was huge to me.
Yeah.
And also made me not buy any of the set outside of buying it at Worlds. So it made me able to skip the set, which I was also excited for. People still bought into it, which is fine. It was a solid set to buy into. But once again, it's X-Men. It's not for me. This will be the 4th or 5th X-Men set in a row I get to skip once I've even been near the idea of buying a booster. I guess if we count Deadpool and the X-Force being a quote-unquote X-Men set, then that was the last time I ever bought a brick of any X-related anything. So, nice.
Well, you're gonna have to buy.
But all right,
so joke's on you.
Yeah, I guess I do gotta buy Empire. So yeah, I will have to buy. Sadly, yeah. But Rise and Fall is hot garbage, so I will be able to skip it. Anyways, we have quite a few questions. So really quickly, let's jump into a Malcolm Rush question block.
That's in Japan!
Japan? No. I can't go to Japan.
Let's talk about your personal Heroclix collection. How many Heroclix do you have now in your collection? So this is a tough question in the fact that I don't have enough time to go through and give you an accurate count of how many figures. I have 4 or 5 like click together tubs that are sorted by keyword, and then one box that's just all DC because I have that little DC, and then I have an even bigger kind of toolbox that's under that stack of toolboxes that has a bunch of figures. Then I've got a few complete sets, but like it's got to be over 1,000, you know, with other game elements, all these generics and other figures and stuff. Like, there's no way my collection isn't over at least 1,000 or something. But I'm not going to go through and like try to count or figure out the averages of whatever. I'm not going to do a census on my Heroclix collection, you know. But Simeon, what would you say is like a rough idea of how many figures you own?
Oh, you think I need a rough idea, Calder? You think I don't know them down to the piece? So
that's my guess, yeah.
Yeah, so for most sets, I don't complete the set, but I roughly have a full set's worth. And so it's like I might not have every chase, but, you know, I've got 5 extra generics or like 2 of like these cheap pieces because they do something interesting or whatever. So I have roughly a full set's worth, and that's going back till like 2012. I don't own a whole lot. I own some loose figures from like way back, but I'm not really going to count those. But that being said, I think I own somewhere in the ballpark of 1,293 figures. Pretty sure on that. I ran the integers, plugged in some formulas, did the math thing. The little paperclip guy came up and asked me.
All right. What was the most Heroclix that you owned at one time, and when was that? I would just say it's always currently, right? I don't go through and cull a bunch of my stuff. I'm not a person that says, not modern, don't need it. I normally keep tons of my Golden Age stuff, and the only time I decide to sell a figure is like when I see that it's Golden Age and I probably won't play it anymore, and it's also going for still like a decent amount. Like the other day I sold my super rare Colossal Groot because I could sell him for like $35, and I'm like, yeah, I don't see myself playing this at all that much, so goodbye, So I would say the most Heroclix I have is always whatever currently it is. I always have the most Heroclix in my collection whenever, you know what I mean? Oh, I guess that's a lie. There was one time where I bought 3 or 4 humongous tubs of Heroclix.
That's right.
For $100. So I guess it would be then. I did this whole explanation, but yeah, okay, never mind. Winter of 2019, when I bought an insane amount of Heroclix, is when I had the most in my collection. I don't know how many was in it, but it was a ton. It was so many. I pieced them all out, sold them to Cool Stuff Inc., and I made a few $1,000. I made $1,200 off of that. And I didn't discount any of the times, like when I sent in shipping, because I sent them in like orders of hundreds at a time, so I didn't miss out on anything. But then I eventually sent one where it was $70 worth of 5-cent filler, figures, and shipping for $75 of 5-cent Heroclix bulk ended up being $75. So it was just me writing them all down, but because I sold it for like the 25% buy-in, I made a slight amount of money off of that exchange where I just didn't want them anymore. And I imagine so many of them broke on the way there because I just dumped them all in a box. But yeah, that would have been the time I had the most figures in my collection.
Nice. Yeah, I said I don't think I've never really bought like big collections, but I said the time I owned the most was it was about 1,293 figures, and it was about right now, sometime around right now.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, number 3, and for longtime listeners of the show, they're going to know this question very easily, but what comic character, including all alternate versions, do you have the most of in your Heroclix collection? I'm a big Captain America fan. I make a point of buying every single version of Steve Rogers Captain America that I can get, so it's easy for me. It's Steve Rogers. Simeon?
Yeah, for me it's also Steve Rogers, my most favorite of all comic characters.
Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me.
No, it's clearly Wolverine. I have almost I'd say I have almost every carded Wolverine. Man, there's a lot of uncarded stuff that I don't even bother with. But
an in-person game where we play every Captain America versus every Wolverine.
I mean, we'd have to add
the setup won't
how close the points come. But are we doing like?
We could do it in sections.
Yeah,
or something,
I think I know which one would win, but that's fine. Wolverine's always going to win.
Well,
the best that would.
Well, I mean, Captain America's got the range advantage, so he'd probably crush Wolverine, just flat out. Period. With the range advantage. So yeah,
I didn't think so.
Yeah,
barely.
Some of them, sometimes. Excuse you. Wolverine's ever led anything.
The X.
It's like, hey, Wolverine, do you want to lead the X-Men? Nah, make Storm do it. Yeah, I'm gonna lead the edgy X-Men team. You know?
I'll lead
sure.
the murder force with X's on our chest. The
Kill
X-murder
Squad.
force, yeah.
We gotta wear black and gray. Because we're gonna do the dirty deeds that no one else wants to, Charles. Okay, Wolverine. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's why he's the
Question
best.
number 4. Best. Someone could say he's the best there is at what he does.
What he do?
Anyways, best worst. What do you do? Best worst and favorite of that Heroclix character that you named above. The best Captain America. That's
pretty hard.
It's a pretty tough call. I would say, for like comic accurate, not necessarily like gameplay wise. I think the best one is like ABPI, and also tied with the common or uncommon from the Captain America and the Avengers set, Captain America. I think those are both comic accurate wise. Either one you could play, and you would have an incredibly comic accurate Captain America. Worst, I said all the ones from Chaos War. He was so bland. He like charge ESD or something. It was just. Yeah, like if he hit doubles, he'd give you an action token or something. Like the ones from Chaos War were terrible Captain Americas. There were like 3. They're all bad. And I don't think I've ever played any of them. Most caps, even like the ones from Infinity Challenge, I've like played and sort of given a shot at. But the ones in Chaos War are just terrible. And then personal favorite Steve Rogers Captain America is Hammer of Thor. This one could also, I guess, be in the running for best, I suppose. At his time, he was definitely the best Captain America for sure. But the Hammer of Thor, shield deflection, huge fan. It was one of the first figures that I flat out bought for like $15, $20 at one point, and I put him on every team, and I loved him. He was great. So, Simeon, best worst favorite, Wolverine.
Yeah. So I had to go with the best. I had to go with the Xavier School Super Rare. Not only is it just a really good sculpt, probably one of like the best sculpts Wolverine's gotten. It's one of the cheapest, most ruthless, disgusting dials that he's ever had, and it's just kind of garbage. Like, I mean, garbage in like a to play against a friend kind of way. Because it's a little too good for what it is, and does not make sense why it's so good for 50 points. But yeah, that's why I said that one's the best. It's not necessarily my favorite, but it's probably got to be the best. I can't think of one that's better. The worst is got to be the Vampire Wolverine, and
I forgot about that one.
he is just, man. Like when I first started collecting and I saw him, I was like, "Oh yes, Vampire Wolverine, that must be like super good." And then I finally got him, and you know what he is, Calder? He's 180 points, and it's not as bad now, but 180 points starts the game on click 4 because he's a vampire, right? So for 180 points, this is what you get. You get a 10 speed charge, 11 attack, 17 toughness, and 4 damage with leadership. And it takes your opponent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 clicks of damage to kill him, assuming they get through his toughness. His defense doesn't get any better. He's got one cool trait, and that's he gives all friendly characters with the X-Men keyword or team ability Steal Energy. Why they would have the team ability but not the keyword, I don't understand. But I guess, I don't know. He also has Steal Energy himself with Stealth, and then he can heal past his starting line of click 4. Although, at best, he only gets a +1 to speed from his starting, a +1 to attack from his starting line, a +1 to his defense, but he does get a huge boost. Finally, on click 1, he gets impervious instead of toughness the rest of his dial. So on click 1, he does heal up to impervious, and then he gets a +1 to his damage compared to his starting line. So you have to heal 3 clicks just to get impervious and a +1 to stats. It's pretty bad.
Jeez.
And the worst thing, which again, this doesn't matter anymore now that pushing is gone, but he was never in Dom. So it was 180 points and he took pushing damage this whole time. So it was just, you were negating a lot of your steel energy just so you could act again because you kind of needed to for 180 points. And he did have ways of healing more, but holy cow, it's got to be the worst. It's a cool sculpt, but I hate it. I hate the figure. I hate the dial. I've played it exactly one time and was so disappointed in how it performed.
It is a cool sculpt, though. Yeah.
Then my personal favorite is the duo figure, which might be cheating because it's a duo figure, but the Wolverine X-23 duo figure just works like a charm every single time you put it on the board. The old school like tricks that it used to have still work. It's a little bit high costed for what it does now, but man, is it still a fun piece. But yeah, that's all I can really say about that one. If you haven't played it, I mean, probably haven't played any duo figure if you haven't played that one, to be honest. Probably can't even name like 5 duo figures.
I see you got that duo figure Heroclix shirt on. Name 5 Heroclix duo figures. People are like bands or something, you know? Jeez. Anyways.
That's just a most
question.
Popular one. Oh, Flashes? Wow. Yeah, anyone would name the Brave and the Bold ones. That was their popular duo figs.
All right. Which Heroclix in your collection is your prize, and why is that Heroclix so important to you? So I'm going to go with the Colonel America zombie I had. This isn't the first time I owned this figure, but it is the version I am most proud to own. So I used to own one that I made like a really ridiculous trade for, like heavily in his favor to get it. Since then, I had someone give me one, and I was like, okay, I don't need this other one, so I gave the other one away. But the one I have now was given to me at Origins one year. I think it was the last Origins I went to, and the guy, I won't say any of their names, but his buddy was a huge Captain America fan. He knew I liked Captain America, and his friend had went through just, you know, something pretty major in their life, and wasn't kind of the same person anymore, and was just selling all their Heroclix and wasn't just into Captain America anymore after everything that had happened. And he said, you know, I think you would deserve to have this, and like that meant a lot to me that he was, you know, thinking of me and everything his friend went through and everything. I was like, wow, that's incredible. And so that is the version of Colonel America I have. I even made sure to keep it in the card sleeve that he had it in, you know. So I think it's really cool. I think it was a really, you know, interesting story, and yeah. So like that's my Heroclix prize. You know, not that it's like a crazy expensive figure or anything. It is a Supernova zombie, so it is pretty darn expensive. Upwards like $50-$60 for Colonel. So, but yeah, like just it was really cool to get that gifted to me. It's awesome.
Nice. Mine's the big dragon, guys. Glad Calder's story was real touching because I like the Serpent, Cthulhu, and Apocalypse Dragon. 2 of those aren't even Heroclix. So, yeah. I don't know why.
The heck is an Apocalypse Dragon?
It's a Mage Knight, huge dude.
Of course it is.
Just like how Cthulhu is a Horrorclix, Apocalypse Dragon is like a giant 7-headed, or let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5 because it's the 4 horsemen of apocalypse. So there's war, famine, pestilence, and death, and then the 5th head is control. But it's cool. It's a cool dragon.
I must have missed that one first time I read that. Okay. Next up we have. Or 6. So which Heroclix that you paid the most for when you got it, and what is the price it's worth now? I don't flat out buy figures, you know, just like straight up like, oh, here's $300. Can I please have that Q Prime? You know, like I don't really do that. I don't flat out buy figures. The only time I got really close to that, and this would be plus trade plus money was the most expensive time I bought it, was Captain Venom at an Earth X sealed, or maybe it was just like a WKO or something in Omaha. Someone pulled a Captain Venom. I've been trying for a long time to try to get a Captain Venom at a good price. I had $80 in my PayPal at the time, and I was like, hey, look, dude, I'll give you $80 in PayPal, and I'll give you this, what was he? A Black Dwarf. Because Black Dwarf at the time was actually going for like $35 to $40 when he was like a brand new WKO prize. And so I was like telling the guy, like, look, he's Captain Venom, I think was going for 120 at the time. So I was like, I'll give you $80 cash, PayPal, and then I'll give you like $40, figure or whatever. And like you can probably sell it for $40 if you do it on Facebook or like whatever. And he took it. I think he asked Devin or somebody. He was like, "Is this figure actually worth $40?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's about around that or whatever." Like I think he asked like Lucas or somebody. I don't know. But yeah, made that deal, and I'm pretty happy to say Captain Venom most recently sold for $150 on the old eBay, May 25th. May 16th, it said 150, but then crossed out, best offer accepted, whatever that means. And then May 9th, he sold for $102. So I would say pretty solid. May 6th, he sold for $145. So I feel pretty good in paying what I paid for Captain Venom. So yeah.
Nice.
Simeon?
Yeah, so I already mentioned which one
the most expensive figure. Yeah.
I dropped a pretty decent amount on Cthulhu and Apocalypse Dragon. Technically, they're not Heroclix, and I'll probably never play them. Outside of those, I guess Galactus is probably one of the highest ones. I don't tend to drop a ton of money unless it's going to be like a statuesque kind of display piece as well. But Apocalypse Dragon, let me see what it's trending for in the box somewhere around $400, outside the box a little over $200.
Oh, wow.
And then
Wow.
those are the ones that have sold. If you look at the ones that haven't sold, the ones that are like up for auction right now, you've got $350, $369, $845. What a fool that person is. $509, $699. So like, it's not easy to come by. Just like Cthulhu, the Heroclix Cthulhu, he was incredibly hard to come by because if I ever found him for what I thought was a reasonable amount, it was snatched up before I could even like contact the person. So yeah, I'm not even gonna look up Cthulhu, but he's really hard to find, even like for sale, let alone price gauge. But he also goes for around that like 300 range. I definitely didn't pay that for mine. Luckily, mine was slightly damaged, so I got a pretty decent discount. But those two are definitely the most I've paid for clicksable figures. And I guess they're Heroclix. They're heroes to someone, and they click, so they're technically Heroclix. Some
You could
kid out
probably
there
have,
is
like,
"Dear Lord Cthulhu, please," and then he like speaks in weird Cthulhu language that I don't understand.
Right, with the tentacle mouth. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could have probably got like an actually like good statue of Cthulhu or something. Or like slightly
Oh,
more. You could have gotten like an
absolutely.
actual like
But would a statue have
Yeah,
little
you know.
claws I can turn? Would it be super unbalanced
And
and,
do nothing
fall
with it?
off my shelf someday and just shatter? No. Statues.
all right. So which HeroClix figure that you have is worth the most money now and in the past? Now or in the past. So like basically what was the most expensive figure we would have owned at any time? I don't know what it was going for in the past, and this might be a bit of a cop-out answer, but I have all the Marvel Zombie chases from Deadpool and Guardians of the Galaxy. So I think a full Marvel Zombie team base, them all being 100 to like 160 to 170 would have been the most expensive figure. And even then, like the most expensive figure I would have ever owned would have been the Ultra Chase Thanos I pulled, but sold very quickly for like $325 as soon as I could. So yeah, it would be like the Marvel Zombie team base or like that Ultra Chase Thanos.
Yeah. The most money. I'm trying to like remember what some stuff used to go for, because some stuff used to like go for crazy amounts. I think War of Light was kind of where it peaked, and I didn't own it. I never owned
with
any, like,
entities
the good
and stuff.
Yeah, that was like a pretty. I don't know if that's where it peaked. There's definitely some stuff before that went for quite a bit. I'll have to say Ultra Chase Thanos as well, because he still goes for a decent amount. But like, yeah, when he first dropped, there's people like easily selling him right off the bat for $500, and I traded for mine. So I traded a full set of Origins Mandarin rings for an Ultra Chase Thanos, because I got top 16 in
That's insane.
sealed. And so yeah, I made like a super sweet deal, and then immediately looked at one of my sealed partners, Charles, and was like, somebody just traded me an Ultra Chase Thanos for my set of rings, and he was like, nah, and like instantly like started like tapping on his phone and like posted it as well. And I was like, I mean, it was a good trade, I guess, if like you really wanted them, because that was like the first place they were all available, I think. But
That's true, yeah. But I mean, like, for the value of those things, I guess the rings might actually have a higher value than Thanos right now. Honestly, I honestly don't know. I think at the time Thanos probably had a higher value, but yeah, the rings. Sometimes I can't give the rings away, and then I'll see people sell the rings for like 150 or something for a full set on Facebook, and I'll be like, "Is that where they're at? Is that what the rings are doing right now?" You know, like super confused. Anyways, number 8. What was your white whale in your collection that you now own, and what is your new white whale that you're going after now? My old white whale was that Venom Captain America, because I had owned every figure I wanted from EarthX, and I was just like, I need to have that Venom Cap, Looks so awesome, looks so cool. Currently, my new white whales, anyone that watches any unboxing I do on YouTube knows that I'm opening up a pack of Supernova every time I do an unboxing to try to chase those zombies. So my current white whales are going to be the Zombie Hulk and the Zombie Wolverine, the only zombie figures I'm missing to complete every single Marvel zombie figure ever made in Heroclix. But Simeon, what is a white whale you now own, and then a white whale you're looking for now?
Yeah, the white whale that I currently own, was previously, the most recent was Q Prime. I held out for quite a while on Q Prime, got him for a pretty decent deal. Previously, before that, it would have been, again, the Heroclix Cthulhu. That one I had my eye on for years. Like, since I first saw that it was like a thing, I was like, man, I want it. And I didn't actively search for it, so I don't know if you could call it a white whale, but I always kept like an eye out just in case. And then my current one is the new Master Mold, because once it drops somewhere somehow, I'm really gonna want it. And man, you know what, Calder? I thought people were fools for blasting Wonder Woman 80th when they included the buy it by the case promo. But if WizKids does that with X-Men Rise and Fall, and they include Master Mold as one of the buy it by the case, I will join the ranks of the HC Realms people with their pitches and torches, and I'll be quite livid, because I'm going to be like, you're charging me $300 for a figure that would normally be $30. How dare you?
Which would be actually the cheapest way to get Master Mold, oddly enough.
Yeah, currently.
Sad to think about that.
I don't think I'd be too upset, but I would probably... That might actually... And WizKids, please don't listen to this and do this, because I will hate you for it. But I probably would end up buying a case just for the chance of getting a Master Mold or whatever others. I assume that they're going to hold off to Empire, because then they could do the rest of the Marvel stuff all in one swoop rather than just one single figure. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about that.
I hope they hold off until Empire because honestly, the legacy cards they fall are really good. The characters they chose, I mean, except for that Storm and Wolverine, but they might actually make those playable figures. You know, I doubt it, but they might. But like the legacy cards kind of made me almost want to buy like a brick of the set just to see which legacy card I get. Honestly, because like you probably sell that Sentinel card for a good chunk. You know,
Yeah,
stuff like that. But I don't think I could,
That
even if they
Magneto one
did
for
both
sure,
the legacy cards and oh yeah, the Magneto for sure. Yeah, people like sold their old GSX Magneto for like 60, $70 the other day, and I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. So yeah. Anyways, where were we? Yeah, number 9. Which sets you have that is completed or almost complete? And the ones that are almost complete, what figures are you missing? I'll go first. I own all the main booster Captain America sets, so that's a 2011 Captain America set, the 2020 Captain America set, and then I have all the figures to the gravity feeds for Captain America, so that's Civil War and then Winter Soldier. That includes, you know, the Fast Forces, the Target exclusive figures, whatever. Totally complete there. And then I almost have a complete set of Supernova because of how much freaking Supernova I've opened. I'm missing, I think, if I had the sheet of paper in front of me, I'm missing one of the uniques. I just finally pulled Korvac the other day, and this is out of 2 cases so far of Supernova I've opened. So 48 packs of Supernova times 2. So, you know, 96 packs of Supernova that I have opened. Goodness gracious. Yikes. I am still don't have a complete set, which blows my mind. Trying to get these veterans is really annoying. Veterans are just harder to get than all the other stuff, which makes sense. That's the best version of that character, but goodness gracious, it really sucks. And then trying to get some of these uniques is also very annoying. And of course, I'm missing that Hulk and that Wolverine. But Simeon.
Yeah, I was trying to think, and I don't collect set-wise usually. If I do end up collecting a set, it's just happenstance because I bought a lot of it. But I mostly collect generics and figures that I think I'll play, or pieces that I really think are going to be like fun or something that I'm going to hold on to. And so the one set that I actually tried to complete when I first started, I did at one point have a full set of Uncanny X-Men minus the chases. I have a full set of Wolverine and the X-Men minus the team bases because I never actually opened any boosters for Wolverine and the X-Men. That was all like secondary market purchase, and I just never got around to getting the team bases. So I have some of the team bases with some of the characters, but there's some characters that were exclusive to like team bases or whatever. I never got those, but that's the closest I think I have to a full set for X-Men. Justice League Unlimited, again, just happenstance. I ended up with almost exactly one of every figure in that set, which I was perfectly fine with. It was a little sad because it meant I didn't have any trade fodder for that set. People are always like, oh, you have anything from JLU? And I was like, yeah, but it's the only one I got. Nah. And then ABPI. ABPI was one where I just, by happenstance, I just bought so much of the set, collected so much of it. I wanted one of every gem, so I ended up with one of every gem, including Ultra Chase Thanos at one point. Oh, I still have him. Now the only thing I am missing from ABPI is Red Skull and Kobik, because I was just never super interested in those two. But yeah, I don't think I have an actual fully 100% completed set. It's just a lot of very almost but not quite kind of things. And I'm not like, I don't know, I'm not a collector in the aspect of, you know, checking off set lists. It's more of just, does my collection for a set feel complete? And sometimes that's like 5 figures. Sometimes I'll look at a set and be like, there's only one thing in this set that's worth having for me. And, you know, that set's complete for me then. And that's, I don't know, it's a simple way of collecting. It's just make it up as you go kind of thing.
That's funny because of the 3 chases I own, I made it a point to get Captain America, Red Skull, and then Kobik, because those obviously all are in a Captain America storyline. So that's kind of funny. But next up, number 10, what was your strangest or weirdest trade you ever made for a Heroclix piece, and was it worth it? It wasn't really a strange trade, and I don't understand what you think we're going to say, that if we were playing some kind of high-stakes poker game, but it's Heroclix, or what kind of thing we would do to get a Heroclix figure. But most of the time, it's either I trade Heroclix for Heroclix, or I trade money for Heroclix, or they give me money for Heroclix, and that's pretty much all it ever is. But for a sort of weird story, back when I first started playing, this would be 4 years after I got into the game. So 2016 for the Civil War Storyline OP event. I still never had a venue. I was very unlucky that I lived, on the ranch, middle of nowhere, 2.5 hours from any venue anywhere in the States, an hour away from a McDonald's or Walmart, just truly living in the boonies, 14 miles away from the town of 200 people. And I was playing Heroclix, playing, just against myself, forcing my little brother to play, whatever. I was not lucky like everybody else is this world, and I hope you all understand how privileged you are that online is a thing, because I looked back at my old not HC Realms, but Heroclix like International Exchange post, and I was like, hey guys, I don't live near anyone and no one near me wants to play, what can I do? And they said, dang, sucks to be you. And now people can say you can play online and you can do whatever. But yeah, that was literally like one of the comments was like, yeah, it sucks, dude, like you can't do anything. And I was like, oh, cool. Like that was how helpful the Heroclix community was back then, but like that's all they had. But now, anyway, so that was the time of my life when this took place. I had seen the preview for Captain Iron America. Being the Captain America fan that I am, I'm like, I need that figure. So I made a plan to take a road trip out to Rapid City, where they were doing the final month of Civil War. I knew that was one of the prizes. I knew that Rapid did not keep score through all the months, because they weren't that bright, honestly. They didn't keep score all the months to see who would get the prizes. So I know if I just could do well this 1 month, I would get the first choice for prizing. I know, right? It's sad. But anyways, so I had screenshotted on my phone, because reception's a little dicey, all of the figures from HC Realms, and I just looked at all the dials, memorized the dials, did whatever I could, right, to try to like totally figure out, this is a good figure and sealed, this is a good figure and sealed. I just looked at every single figure in the set, whatever. Finally get there after my 2-3 hours of studying.
Opponent's dials. So.
Well, I mean, Civil War, they didn't have dials on the back of the card.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's still look at, but.
But also,
I remember
if they did,
like,
I wouldn't be allowed to look at my
Sealed was like rolling
cards.
up. When Sealed was rolling up back in like the day before the new cards, and before being able to look at your opponent's cards, trying to memorize like pre-release, that was part of why previews were so important. Is you just sit there and be like, I really want to win this Sealed. They've got a LE Spider-Man in a black suit. I really need to win it. But yeah, you'd sit there and like try and memorize dials and be like, all right, so if I go up against this guy, I got to hit him for X, Y, Z kind of thing.
So anyway, finishing my story, I was like looking at all the dials, really, really, really wanted to win this Captain America, right? It absolutely slogged. 2 people gang up on me. I was the outsider, not whatever. They didn't want me to win because I didn't, show up to their months. But fair enough, right? But like, I wasn't going to travel 2.5 hours there, 2.5 hours back just to play in Civil War. So I was just able to make this trip work because I really wanted it to have happen. So they just 2 people, we played a battle royale format. That was what Civil War was supposed to be. 2 of them ganged up on me right away and just slaughtered me. And I was like, cool, this sucks. And we only played 1 game that day too, 1 or 2 games. And I was like, and it was over. And I was like, dang. So I lost, but I bought 1 booster of, I think the set was Superior Foes of Spider-Man, and I got an Old Man Spider, and that same day I just posted on Facebook, and I was able to 1-to-1 trade it for Captain Iron America, and I was like, cool. So, in a way, that trip, I did get Captain Iron America, but not the way I thought I was going to. So that would be the only kind of funky story I had about a weird trade. So yeah, we still did it. Mission accomplished. We used the wrong equation and got the right answer.
Nice. Yeah, the strangest and weirdest trade I ever made for Heroclix is one time I went into one of my local game stores, and they had a bunch of like older figures in boxes, and then some behind the glass. And a guy came over and was like, "Hey, can I help you with something?" And I was like, "Yeah, can I get that piece?" And he was like, "This one here?" And I said, "Yes." And then he said it was $5, and I handed him a $5 bill, and then I left, and it was pretty weird. Paper money. It's very strange handling that old currency that is now dead and
It's
gone.
strange.
But no, I've never done a weird trade. I think if a trade ever seemed weird to me, I'd probably just stop it. Like if someone was like, "Hey, you got any honey? I can't get honey like in this state. Could you send me a bunch of food stuff through the mail and I'll send you some Heroclix," or vice versa? I'd be very weirded out and be like, "This sounds like some sort of bad thing I don't want to be a part of." So no, I've never done a weird trade. I don't even know what a weird trade would consist of.
There was sort of a trade like that I saw on HC Realms, like during the Construct era. Because I believe the guy said in his like HC Realms post he wanted anything yellow, and I think someone sent him a banana. I don't totally know how like that story goes, but I think that was like the end result was that someone just sent him a banana, and I was like, oh, okay. So yeah. Anyways, that's Malcolm Rush's questions. He also says, remember, if you ever want to slim down your collection, please send me your extra Heroclix. Malcolm, if you want to pay shipping and then also join our Patreon at any tier, I will gladly send you all of my extras as long as you pay shipping and join our Patreon. I think that'd be a pretty fair trade. Anyways, we also have more listener questions. This one comes in from Matt Reed. Simeon?
Yeah, so essentially, Matt messaged us and said he's looking for more fun and interesting types of builds we can do for his that he can do for his group that plays every Sunday. They try and make stuff up, but since it's the same 5 people playing every week, they tend to recycle the same builds over and over. And so he's just trying to find some new, interesting type of formats and builds to work with. So when it comes to build formats for like a local gaming group, there's 2 different ways to tackle it. So you can do alternative rules, which is where you like add interesting rules or just different rules, you mix them up kind of thing, and then build restrictions. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Like you can restrict the build to make it different, and you can add additional rules. You can do the combination of the 2, but there's not really a whole lot more than you can do than those 2 things, right? Am I forgetting something?
Yeah, for simple things like that,
eat like
where it's
hot
not
wings or hit people with chairs when you do it, I guess.
that one I would recommend. I think that's fun.
But no, and this is like I don't know. This is a good question for anyone that would be like an aspiring judge or like group runner, somebody that would be like the person that sets up all the builds for their local spot. Because
fact of the matter is, if you play 300 Modern every single week, I probably wouldn't show up to your venue after a while, because that's just, I don't want to play 300 Modern every week. It's boring. It's kind of lame. And if I want to play 300 Modern, I'll travel to a different state and then I'll play competitively. But if all you do is play competitively all the time, then I'm not playing this game fun anymore. So for me, anyways, specifically for me, and then you just cut down on saying I can't play 90% of my collection, basically. So I think this is an important tool for any judge, host of a venue to learn, so that way players, don't get tired and bored of just the same old format, because then if you keep playing the same format, that means people will just kind of keep playing the same thing, and that's boring. You don't want to play against the same thing every week. But Simeon, what is your out-of-the-box, spicing up Heroclix format?
All right. Do you want all of them at once?
I think we do back and forth one at a time here.
Okay. So one of the ones that I think's easier to do, but it's also like pretty interesting, and it's not at all like good for competitive because it can be exploited a little bit. But it's heroes versus villains. You have to build a team of heroes and a team of villains. Doesn't have to be like themed or anything. They're the same points, so whatever point build you want to be at, 300, 400, whatever, you have, each person has to build a hero squad and a villain squad, and then when they get matched up with their opponent, they both roll, and whoever rolls highest gets to pick whether they want to play their villains or play their heroes. It makes for some like interesting matchups because it forces it to be thematic. So your villains might not be the same as like what your rogues gallery for your, like, you know, it might not be X-Men versus Brotherhood. It might be X-Men versus Borg, or just like some, you know, wacky whatever. Like it might be the Flash's rogues or something. But it's really fun. And it's really simple to do. It's just 2 teams, and then highest roll decides which one's playing which.
And I think in the same vein, you can do that with like Marvel versus DC or whatever else, right? Just anything that's building like 2 different teams type of deal. So that's cool.
Yeah.
I have written down, this is one of my favorites. It is song/movie. So when it's a movie, you can't base it off a comic book movie. And when it's a song, you're not allowed to do any like comic booky at all, like songs. But like basically you're building your team around a theme like that. So we will do this a lot for holidays. So like Simeon and I, when we did our Christmas game, we based them off Christmas movies, which we're using, you know, Marvel, DC, Star Trek, whatever figures to represent characters from a random like Christmas classic. So that'll make us like, I would have never played these weird Star Trek people or Fire Lord and Iceman together. But because I was doing, you know, Heat Miser and Snow Miser, then boom, I made that team. So I think that's really fun. Same thing with song. You can do cool things. I've seen people do like Thunderstruck, super easy. Play people with either Thunder in their name, Thunderbird, War Thunder, whatever, right? Or just do people that can do like Thor's lightning powers and stuff, right? So anything, songs like that. Whiskey for my men, beer for my horses. Played a team with some horses. Played a team with some alcoholics like Iron Man and stuff on it, you know. So I like building songs and movies because in that, I think that gets you to be really, really creative. And you can also be super lame and uncreative with it. Some people are. It's the way it is. But if you want to be creative, you can. Like someone did Walk This Way, and it was like mind control, but it was all that Professor X that can only make you do move actions. And I thought that was a really funny team. You know, was it a good team? No, it was terrible, but it was fun, and that's what it's all about. So basing teams around songs and movies, I think, is great.
Yeah. Princess Bride is like if you're ever building for that, Princess Bride has a ton of room to work because you've got Physic, the big brute.
And we have Andre.
You have the mastermind. Oh, yeah, we also have just Andre the Giant in general now. You've got like the mastermind guy, the swordsman. You've got a pirate, the Dread Pirate Roberts. You've got Princess Buttercup. You've got the evil count. You have like so many stuff to choose from. But really, any movie you kind of have that. My next, this one's a super simple one. Next alternate format is just no boot symbol. And so no boot symbol means you have to play, your entire team has to have flight, dolphin, or like something, like some sort of transporter or something. But you can do this with any kind of, you know, you could have no standard or colossal. And so everybody has to be a giant or tiny. You can play this with like any kind of variation on symbols or ability slots. But really, I mean, other than autonomous, we don't have one for attack anymore. We used to have sharpshooter, but that's gone. So really, it's just damage symbol and speed symbol that gets changed up the most. But that's enough. I mean, you can do that, or you could do something where you know, like a certain amount of your build has to have like X team ability kind of thing, A team ability kind of thing. But yeah, just saying like no boot symbol in general wipes out a lot of sets. Like you'd be surprised how many sets are comprised of mostly people that can't fly.
Oh, show. One of my favorites to do is Attack of the Clones, which is you would have every character on your team has to share the same name or real name. I personally like to do Highlander with this, so that way not everybody's gonna play, Super Scrolls at 50 points and be like Super Scroll, Super Scroll, Super Scroll. Instead, you can be really fun, right? So that's how I like to play, though. I always like to play just Captain America's on one team as possible. That's all I cared about for the longest time ever in Heroclix. That's the only teams I ever wanted to play. And to this day, those are still the teams that bring me the most joy, is however many Captain Americans I can put on a team. So when everybody does it, it's kind of fun to see a team of all Hal Jordans, or a team of all the Flash or Lex Luthor or Captain America or Spider-Man, I think that's really fun. I think it's a fun way to play. I think Highlander means you get more unique teams as opposed to a bunch of PS4 Spideys or something, like I said. So I think Clone Army is just to me, I think that's like a super fun way to play.
For sure. My next one is Resources Mandatory. I don't know what a good name for it is. But if you have, and this is only applicable if you have enough resources to go around, but especially if you've got like some people that have been judging for a while, they probably have all the older standard organized play kits with like all like the Mandarin rings or a gauntlet or maybe like some power batteries or like whatever. They've got older resources. Phoenix Force is pretty plentiful, and like hammers, all the resources. That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, just loan them out, and everyone has to build a normal team, but actually use a resource. It's actually, when everyone's using resources, it actually makes the game. It's not like unfair in one way or the other. It used to be like, you might show up to casual and somebody's like running a lantern and just like destroying everyone else because no one else showed up with that. But if you show up with the intention that everyone's going to be running a resource, it's like a fun learning experience because it's like, oh, I've never used like this one, or I've never used it with this team or whatever. And then you also get to play against like another resource and see kind of which one's better. So I always liked it, but it can take quite a bit to set up, and that's the one downfall of that kind of thing is forcing everyone to learn how to use a brand new resource can take a little time.
Yeah, I can see that. That would be a little tough. I think it is fun though. I definitely prefer putting resources on a team where it's like a bunch of 50 to 75, whatever, like kind of like bad Golden Age figures, and then being able to pump them up. The worst part is when you say resources are legal, people's minds don't go to, I'm going to play a bad figure and make them playable. They say I'm going to make a good figure and make it better, which, sure, whatever. That's the way people are. So it's fair enough. But I mean, that's how I always think of resources, where it's like, man, how are the Ducks going to have the Infinity Gauntlet, My next pick is going to be Super Theme Team. I think this one can be kind of fun. It's once again, a lot of these that we're kind of saying means you kind of have to have fleshed out collections, so they might not be the best for newer players. But Super Theme Team I enjoy means basically you have to have a named keyword and a generic keyword shared by everyone on your team. So you have to have Soldier Avengers, Martial Artist Avengers, Detective Justice League, something like that, right? I think that's just awesome, tons of fun. It super, super cuts down like what you can play, and it probably does make its own meta or whatever, but I personally really enjoy Super Theme Team like that, making them share a named and generic keyword. I think that can be really fun.
Nice. Yeah. Justice League Robot. Yeah. That's what I would do.
Oh, there you go. Well, I would say you have to have more than one figure on your team. It has to be an actual And then I guess you do Justice League Robot. Does Fulcom have Robot?
And Fulcom.
Yeah, you can do Stripe.
Yeah.
You can do Fulcom, and then you can do the Batman Superman Robot or something. And then
true.
See, Justice League Robot totally works.
Yeah.
Totally works. Yeah.
My next one is Royal Rumble, and so if you know anything about WWE or wrestling and you know what a Royal Rumble is, it's basically that. So you build to like 300-400 points, but then you have sidelined so you can do it a couple different ways. You can have sidelined like 50-point figures, and then essentially the way it works is after the every third turn or fourth turn or whatever you want to make it, each team adds a new figure in from their starting or from their sideline. So you can make it everyone's like a certain point value or under a certain point value, or you can have like the first fig is 50 points and under, second figure is 75 and under, third is 100 and under, so on and so forth. It depends on how you want to do it, but essentially, yeah, you keep adding figures to the force, either through the starting area or adjacent to somebody else. But it keeps it interesting because, you might have your opponent on the ropes and they're down to one figure, and then all of a sudden the third round comes up or whatever, and they drop in 100-point figure, and now all of a sudden they've got that big backup dude who's able to fight back, kind of thing. It's an interesting premise, and it's hard to really build well for, because you could just build with the best figures. That would be the easiest thing to do, but it's hard to do I want support powers mid game when half my team might be dead, or do I want a better attacker kind of thing? It's hard to figure out what exactly your team might need.
I gotcha. Very cool. My next one is team swap. Some people might not like this, as it is you will build whatever team you want, but when you get there, each round you will switch teams with your opponent and you'll play each other's teams. I think it's fun. Some people are against touching your figures or other people's figures. I'm like, okay, whatever, get over yourself. But I think it's really funny. I think it's great. There have to be some rules depending on how competitively minded your area is, where it's you can't have a team that just auto loses. There are some teams you can build where it's just, as soon as I play this, I lose. And then we also made it where you have to have at least half of your build have 2 or more damage. So, so it's just in case someone had some crazy reducers. Somehow they built a team that would give you crazy reducers, then they would just be totally SOL, So that was another thing we had to do. But I think it's really funny forcing everyone to kind of build the worst teams they can think of, I think that's great. And then switch with each other, and then you play it. Just 2 bad teams going against each other. I think it's really fun. I think playing the anti-meta is awesome. So I really like Team Swap for that reason.
Yeah, I really like that one because it forces you to, one, trying to think of the worst figures possible, where you're what's just a really and some stuff will stand out to you where when you saw the pre-release for it, or when you saw it previewed, you were man, that's just a terrible figure. And then you give it to your opponent and suddenly you have to face against it, and you're it wasn't really as bad as I thought. It's actually much better than whatever he gave me, kind of thing.
Yeah, that was definitely kind of the weird when we played it last year. Someone played that 100-point common Superman from JLU, which is a terrible garbage figure.
Yeah.
But it has charge and impervious, which is a lot more than a lot of other figures that are bad have,
It's pretty stacked compared
it's
to
kind of crazy.
generics.
Right? Yeah. So that's one of the wild things about Team Swap like that.
All right. My last one, at least the last main one, there will be some honorable mentions, but it's the Masters and Minions format. So again, there's a lot of leeway on how you construct this, but typically it's either you pick a 100-point character or someone in the range of 100 to 200 points, and that is the master of your team. And then no one else on your team can have a real name, so they all have to be real name various or some sort of generic character. They can't be an actual figure, an actual named figure. Alternative versions to this is like you can give the master like one general kind of thing. So you could have a master at 150 and then a general that's 75 points or less. But the main premise is that you have as many generics on the board at the same time. Last time I did this was a long time ago, and I did Wolverine and the X-Men Mojo. So the Mojo from Wolverine and the X-Men, and I designed it like he was shooting a monster movie. So I had the Amazing Spider-Man vampires and werewolves, and I think I had like some amphibians and like some whatever other like were unnamed things. But it's a fun team. I mean, that was a fun team, but that old Mojo worked kind of weird anyhow. But it's a fun build, I should say.
I like that idea. That's a more creative way to use it, where people will just be like Red Skull, Hydra people. That's what I do. Or like, Ultron Jones. I like the idea. That was a creative way of Mojo shooting a movie. I think that's funny. I went with alternate universe. This is one of my favorites because people, even when we say play Golden Age, people don't dip into Lord of the Rings or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Dota or any of like that stuff. They almost never do. So in alternate universe, only one figure is allowed to be Marvel or DC, but the rest of your team, and then also subsequently only one figure can be from each thing. So you can only have one Ninja Turtle figure, one Star Trek figure, one WWE figure, like whatever you do, but only one's allowed to be Marvel and DC. The rest of your team, one is allowed to be from any other property. We'll normally say if you choose a property that's just outright bad, like Lone Ranger or, something like that, they can have +1 stats or something, which gives you like a little bit more incentive to build with those figures. Yu-Gi-Oh! +1 stats, unless it's like a dragon or Exodia or something, So I like alternate universe. I like seeing the creativity that people can put on their team, 'cause since that's what I like most about Heroclix is putting as many different universes on the team. So I can have Colonel Stars and Stripes with Captain America, with whatever, Hulk Hogan when he comes out or something, or Kurt Angle,
Uncle Sam. Yeah.
With like whatever. Uncle, well, not Marvel or DC, but yeah, Uncle Sam along the same vein, the BioShock currents of George Washington, the motorized Patriot. Yeah. I love that kind of stuff. That's why I like, that's the way I like to build a team for Heroclix. Oh, I'll put Guile, however you want to say it, on the team as well. Most patriotic Street Fighter character there is, so like, yeah, or the one we have anyways. So yeah, alternate universe is a super fun one to play.
All right, I think
and that is all our teams.
Honorable mention to Bizarro format. You can do that a couple different ways.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Misses hit, hits miss, that kind of thing. Or you can do it where like you reverse dial. So, I mean, Bizarro can mean anything you want it to be, but reverse dial is you start on the last click and work your way towards the front click, and of course you hit the same KO that you normally would. That is, reverse dial is one where you have to kind of curate what can be played and what rules are going to be in place, because there are certain characters that just work kind of wonky, like the KC figures, who can be played for like that 35, 25 point line or whatever. And then when they come in, it says explicitly they come in on like their last click. It says like click whatever, 7. And since it says that click number, that's where you would normally start them. You have to rule that however you want. But that's also part of the fun of reverse dial, is having just some really crazy interactions that wouldn't normally happen, because that's not the way the dials are supposed to turn, kind of thing. And then I have one other. Oh, I was just going to say Skirmish and Silver. Those are like the two WizKids official alternate things. If you haven't tried them, I mean, Silver's not any different than what most people play anyhow, but there is like a ban list, so you can just follow that. And then Skirmish is just a very weird, wonky kind of battle royale system, but it's interesting to at least try. If you're bored and you want to try a new system, it's fine for that.
if you're really, really bored, you can play Skirmish. If you're real bored and you hate yourself, you can play yourself some Skirmish. Go for it. Go nuts. But all right, guys, that is going to be our show this week. Thank you so much for listening. Like always, if you want to send us questions like Matt and Malcolm did, you can do so by messaging the Facebook page, the Twitter page, or the Instagram. You can also email us at dialh4heroclix, all spelled out, at gmail.com. And if you want to join the Patreon and have fun playing Bad Samaritan every Sunday or every weekend, play a little game of Bad Samaritan, you compete to add some extra prizes to your monthly Patreon rewards. If you're on a tier that can get rewards Patreon. Also, it just adds more content that even if you're just a $1 Patreon member, you can indeed play in a little fun game. And we always have a good conversation before and after the game. So it's really just kind of like you're hanging out with me and Simeon too, which is a really good time. And you'll be able to get a lot of inside jokes that we like to throw in on the show for like the 5 people that play Bad Samaritan. Plus, we keep track of everybody's score. So if you're one of those competitive people who wants to keep track of your score playing Bad Samaritan, definitely join the Patreon and join the Discord, and it's tons of fun. Before we go, though, I almost forgot. We have a Jedi Legend Heroclix tip of the week.
You don't want to sell me death sticks.
I don't want to sell you dead sticks.
You want to go home and rethink your life.
I want to go home and rethink my life.
I've seen this in a lot of groups on Facebook. People are a little confused on how leadership works, so Jedi Legend's going to give it a go. Leadership is action total +1. This means no matter how many leaderships you have on your force or team, you get 1 more action per turn. If you're a 300-point game and you have 5 leaderships, you only get 4 actions, all right? Pretty simple stuff.
I also saw people asking that. It's weird. We've got new rules, and it's like all of a sudden out of the woodwork are
the thing that wasn't
are asking like plain PAC questions again.
Right. It's so weird. And that was one of the things that wasn't changed either. And I'm like, people are getting confused on leadership. Hasn't changed since 2017, but okay.
Yeah. It's just the way Heroclix will always be. I don't know why.
That's true.
We'll always have new people that we'll have to explain stuff to. And we'll always have new figures that we'll have to look for. And if you're doing that, if you want to hunt your white whale, as Malcolm put it, you can do so on CoolStuffInc.com. Dial H for Heroclix is sponsored by CoolStuffInc.com, and by using code DIAL5, you can save up to 5% if you're not already saving more. So check them out. CoolStuffInc.com.
Happy trails.
So if you're looking for emotional satisfaction, my advice to you is seek professional...
Heroclix?
No.
Are you serious? Again? How many people even play this game? Like 100?
Instant deadpan humor.
Over 6 people think I am funny.
It's a hard day's work. Not that you know anything about that. Which...
Absolute fools, it's not
Witcher nonsense. I'm gonna make Heroclix like that forever.
Are you kidding me?
Hey Google, attack someone.
Let's attack Simeon because he's a jerk.
Wow.